Hare Krishna, a very warm welcome to all the devotees to our classes on Srimad Bhagavatam study. Today we are going to do a workshop on the quiz. This quiz we have issued beforehand to the devotees, which comprised of short answer type questions and multiple choice type questions. The quiz is based on chapter 1 and 2 of canto number 1 of Srimad Bhagavatam. So the purpose of this quiz is mainly to look back and revise what we have done so far, study whatever study we have done. So it gives the opportunity to all the devotees to spend at least 1.5 week to revise all what we have done. So let us start the discussion. We'll start with the Mangalacharan prayers. ओम अज्ञानतिमिरन्धस्य ज्ञानञ्जनाशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपः कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरो श्रीयुतपदकमलं श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगणरघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवम् साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधाकृष्णपादान् सहगणललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च। हे कृष्ण करुणा सिन्धो दीनबन्धो जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिकान्त राधाकान्त नमोऽस्तुते। तप्त काञ्चन गौरांगी राधे वृन्दावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये। वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्णा हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत्। नष्टप्रायेषु अभद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवत्युत्तमश्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्ठिकी। कृष्णाय वासुदेवाय देवकीनन्दनाय च नन्दगोपकुमाराय गोविन्दाय नमो नमः। Once again, a very warm welcome to all the devotees. Today we are doing this discussion on the quiz, and the quiz was issued this time in two parts. One part was purely dedicated to short answer type questions, and the second part was dedicated to multiple choice type questions. So we will discuss first of all the first quiz, which is based upon the short answer type questions. So any general feedback you would like to give? How did you like the quiz? Do you find the quiz very difficult, easy? So just maybe one or two feedback we will collect and then we will proceed.
It was really interesting, and there was no special difficulty once we were through your notes and hearing the class.
Okay.
So I didn't find much difficult.
Okay. So if you have attended the classes, or even if you don't have attended the classes, but if you could access to the recordings and access to the class notes like slides, then it is very easy to do the quiz, right? Okay. Okay, sir. Thank you. Good feedback. Thank you. So let us start. Srimad Bhagavatam is a unique Vedic scripture. So the question was, provide 4 non-devotional reasons why Srimad Bhagavatam is a unique Vedic scripture. So maybe we can respond to this question in bullets. Anyone would like to respond to it?
Language of Srimad Bhagavatam.
Okay, let us take one by one. So Manish Prabhu is saying language of Srimad Bhagavatam. Okay, Prabhuji, can you elaborate a little bit?
So here it is like the Sanskrit which is used in Srimad Bhagavatam is most difficult, and some of the words used are quite unique and not found elsewhere. Yeah, and it is closely related, or it has taken from Vedas. This is closely related to Vedas.
Very nice. Okay. Yes, Prabhu, very good. So language of Srimad Bhagavatam, Sanskrit use is Vedic Sanskrit. Many words are very special, only found in Srimad Bhagavatam. And the content is also very close to the narrations found in the Vedas. So actually, truly essence of the Vedas. Nigam kalpataror galitam phalam. Right, like what we study in Srimad Bhagavatam. Okay, very good. Any other point? Second point?
Remarkably consistent in manuscript history.
Remarkably consistent in manuscript history. Okay, Prabhuji, can you explain that? What does it mean?
Before the advent of printing press, books were copied manually. While making copy of a book, scribes would commit different types of mistakes. Then a critical edition was produced after studying and rectifying all available manuscripts. But Srimad Bhagavatam is remarkably consistent across multiple manuscripts over thousands of years.
Wonderful, wonderful. Yes. So why does it make it unique? Why does it make it unique, Srimad Bhagavatam? Because the other Vedic manuscripts were not like that. Like for example, Mahabharata. So there were many inconsistencies, and this Bhandarkar Research Institute actually did a lot of hard work over several years to produce this critical edition. But that was not the case in Srimad Bhagavatam and many other actually Vedic literature. We really don't know if many of those are really true to their original version. So, but Bhagavatam is very consistent compared to the other Vedic manuscript. That is why it is unique Vedic scripture. Okay, very nice, Prabhuji. Very nicely explained. Next point.
Srimad Bhagavatam teaches like it is like a guru, friend, and lover. Many stories are there in Srimad Bhagavatam, and many different meters are used in the various shlokas.
Yes.
This is the third point I would like to mention.
Very nice. And see, the quality of poetry is very rich. And why does it make it unique? Because other Vedic literature actually either they would try to teach as a guru, like Vedas will teach as guru, Puranas will teach like friend, and maybe other poetry will teach like a lover. But Bhagavatam has the way Bhagavatam is written, it teaches like all the three. It teaches like a guru, like in an order. Atithi Devo Bhava, like friend, suggestion in the form of stories, etc. And lover. So as a very beautiful poetry, gently persuading to the reader. And it is using very wide variety of meters. Shardul Vikriditam, Vasant Tilaka, and then Anushtup, Trishtup. Generally, all other Vedic literature will have only two type of meters. This Anushtup and Trishtup. Trishtup also very less. Mostly is written in Anushtup Chanda. And different verses can be translated in completely different meanings. So the same Sanskrit, but when you translate them, you can actually translate them into completely different meaning. They are actually purposefully written like that. So the quality of poetry is very rich. So very nice answer, Prabhuji. Okay, the fourth one, anyone would like to attempt?
Structure of Srimad Bhagavatam is really very coherent and structured one. It's a very systematic study in question and answer form, where one question is taken up, answered fully, and then only the next one is taken.
Next one is coming.
So it's a complete package in all.
Complete package. Yes, very good.
Yes.
So this book particularly is actually very good for the kind of study we are engaging into it. So we are also doing in a very structured way. We are developing some overview maps, then we will classify the text and so on. So this kind of systematic study, Srimad Bhagavatam is the ideal text in that sense. So it is
Yes,
very nice, and that is what it makes very unique. So very good, very nice answers. So the way I have prepared these answers is it is my attempt to explain it to you that when the questions are being asked to you, for example, in future, if you would like to sit in Bhakti Vaibhav exams from ISKCON Board of Exam conduct dedicated exams. So this is maybe one way to answer the question. So like in 75 words we have to do it. So this is how we are trying to explain it to you. So you preserve these slides in case in future you attempt to sit in the Bhakti Vaibhav exam. These slides will help you. Okay, moving to the next one. 7 characteristics of absolute truth. Okay, write the 7 characteristics of the absolute truth based on Srimad Bhagavatam 1.1.1. Okay, again, let us see participation from all the people. So one bullet point to each one of you. So how do you answer this?
Sarva Karana Karanam.
Sarva
Ideal
Karana
cause
Karanam.
of all causes of creation, maintenance, and destruction of universe.
Hmm.
Janmadi Asyato.
Janmadesya yato. So, Janma Adi. Janma means birth or creation. Adi means etc. Like in Hindi we have Adi, and in English we call it etc. So Janma Adi. Janma Adi means actually it is referring to creation, maintenance, and destruction. Janmadya asya yato. Primeval cause of all causes of creation, maintenance, and destruction of the manifested universes. So very nice. So this is the first characteristics of absolute truth. By the way, Janmadyasya yata is also one of the aphorism of Vedanta Sutra. One of the aphorism of Vedanta Sutra. So if you recall, we mentioned to you in our classes that Srimad Bhagavatam is a natural commentary on the Vedanta Sutra. So you can see the very first line of Srimad Bhagavatam that it opens this with the aphorism from Vedanta Sutra. Janmadyasya yatah. You see this? This is a Vedanta Sutra aphorism. Okay, the second one.
Cognizant or conscious of all the creations. Maybe sitting in Golaka Vrindavan, but he is cognizant or almost he is overseeing everything that is happening anywhere in the universe.
Yeah, he knows everything, either directly or indirectly. Either directly or indirectly. So it is said, Anvayad itaratas chartheshva abhigya. So the word abhigya means cognizant. Anvayad means directly, itaratas means indirectly. Directly, indirectly. Chartheshva abhigya. Directly and indirectly conscious of all the manifestations. And there is a very interesting analogy given in the purport by Srila Prabhupada to explain this point. Does anyone remember it?
That chief engineer supervises the project.
So chief engineer supervises the project, and under the chief engineer there are multiple engineers. So he will know everything either through his engineers, or directly he will know the progress of the project. So that is the analogy given. And similarly, the Lord also manages the universe like that. He has demigods under his supervision who are busy in managing the affairs of the universe, and he is managing through the demigods. Okay. Yes, very nice. Okay, the next one.
Swarat.
Swarat, yes, Vrindavaneshwari Mataji. Yes, very nice. So how do you explain Swarat?
Swarat is the one who's completely independent, not dependent on anything.
Not dependent on anything. Okay, very nice. And which analogy Srila Prabhupada has given in the purport to explain the Swarat part?
That I forgot. Yes.
No problem. Anyone remember that?
Mine of gold, Prabhuji.
Mine of
He
gold.
is a mine of gold.
How does it make it Swarat? Okay, let me tell you. Prabhupada gives one analogy of a chemist. So chemist in the laboratory, if he wants to make a water molecule, he has to use hydrogen and oxygen. But hydrogen and oxygen the chemist has not made. He would use the hydrogen and oxygen which has been created by the Supreme Lord. So he is using the raw material created by Supreme Lord to create water molecule. So if the chemist is claiming that I am the creator of water molecule, I am the independent creator of the water molecule, then he is wrong. He cannot say that. He cannot claim that. Because he is using the raw material provided by the Supreme Lord to create water molecule.
Yeah.
So once there was a debate between God and a scientist. Scientist said that, oh God, your creation is so defective, I can make a better creation. So God said, okay, please try. So what did the scientist do? Scientist just bent down and he started to take some mud, some mitti from the earth. Then the God intervened. God said, sir, my dear sir, please bring your own mitti. Don't use my mitti. To create a new universe. So this explains the point that God is fully independent. He does not need raw material created by someone else to do something. So that is Swarat. Okay, we'll go to the fourth one. So anyone would like to mention the fourth one?
First imparted Vedic knowledge into the heart of Brahma. Enlightener was the enlightener.
Yeah, so enlightener. So Tene Brahma Hridaya Adi Kavaye. Adi Kavaye means the first created being. Brahma means the Brahma Gyan, the knowledge. Tene Brahma Hridaya Adi Kavaye. So he imparted this knowledge through the heart. First imparted Vedic knowledge unto the heart of Lord Brahma. So he's the enlightener. Very nice. What is the fifth one?
Bewilderer, Prabhuji.
Muhyanti yat surya. Muhyanti yat surya. So what does it mean by bewilderer, Prabhu?
Prabhuji, he creates this material existence which appears factual. However, it is not factual, it is temporary. And he bewilders through his Maya potency.
That it is factual.
That is factual.
That it is factual. Prabhu, you are becoming Pandit. You are so nicely explaining. Very nice. So, Muhyanti yat surya. Even great sages and demigods are placed into illusion. Tejo vari mridam yatha. As one is bewildered by the illusory representation of water seen in fire or land seen on water. So there is an analogy given. How does he bewilders these sages and demigods? Actually, this is the what you mentioned, Rakesh ji. Actually, is the sixth one. Vinimayo yatra tisargo mrisha. Only because of him do the material universes temporarily manifested by reactions of the three modes appear factual. So you actually mentioned the sixth one, Rakesh Prabhu. The fifth one is Muhyanti yat surya. He bewilders the demigods and the sages. Do you understand the difference between the two? Rakesh ji? Anyway.
Prabhuji, but what is this representation of water seen in fire or land seen in water? Could you please explain this?
Yes, Prabhu. I will explain. So let us focus at the fifth one. Rakesh ji just now explained the sixth one. So we'll just focus on the fifth one. Muhyanti yat suryaha. Suryaha actually is referring here to the great sages and demigods. Sura means one who live in accordance with the principles laid down by the Supreme Lord. And these people are either the sages or the demigods. So those are called Surya. Muhyanti means bewilders. So he bewilders the sages and the demigods. Why does sages and demigods are bewildered? For what? Because sages and demigods, they don't know from where they are coming, which is the source of this whole existence, from where this whole existence is coming. So they remain bewildered. Unless they are enlightened by the Supreme Lord himself, or enlightened through his scriptures, through the through the agency of the spiritual master, these people remain bewildered, the sages and the demigods. And in order to give an analogy, here it is written, Tejo Vari Mridam Yatha. Yatha means like, as one is bewildered by the illusory representation of water seen in fire or land seen on water. So can you share any experience when you have seen land in water?
Miraj.
Island.
Yes.
Island.
Reflection.
Yes.
Like if you are standing near a body of a lake, then you will see the reflection of land in the lake.
Yeah.
And sometimes it appears that there is land in the lake. There is no water.
Yes.
Similarly, do you see water on land?
Water on land is very common, like
Mirage, isn't it? Similarly, when you see fire, you sometimes you find the flames are emanating in such a way that it appears it is as if it is a water.
Yes.
As if it is water. So the point being mentioned here is, like we get illusioned when we see land in water and water on the land, or fire or water in the fire, like we get illusioned. Similarly, the Supreme Lord bewilders the sages and the demigods. That is Muhyanti Yat Surya. Is it clear, Prabhuji?
Yes,
Prabhuji, they are so close to the Lord. They are the minister. They are helping him day and night. How come they are still bewildered?
Independently, they cannot understand.
To understand. Yeah.
Independently, they cannot understand. That is what it means. On their own, they cannot understand. If they
are
want,
as helpless as we are, then.
Yeah, they are same. They are also Jiva Tattva. They are exalted jivas.
Right.
They are also Jiva Tattvas. They are also full of 4 defects, like we are. They are also subjected to 4 defects. So that is what sages and the demigods mean. And there was a verse also in Bhagavad Gita, which I mentioned in the class. I think it comes in 8th chapter. I'm just trying to find it. If somebody can remember it, I think in the beginning he would mention that, if I'm correct. 8th chapter. Anyway, I'll find out and let you know. That was a verse in Bhagavad Gita which also mentions something very similar. I think maybe the 7th one. Anyway, let us not waste a lot of time there. Okay, so I think the 5th. Yes, Prabhu.
When Bhagwan took the Mohini Avatarana, even Lord Shiva got bewildered.
Yes. So Lord is very interesting. He bewilders everyone. Okay. So 5th and 6th point covered. What is the last point?
Eternal abode. The absolute truth.
Yeah. Okay.
Absolute.
Dhamna Svena Sada Nirasta Kuhukam. So eternally existent in the transcendental abode, which is forever free from illusion. Nirasta Kuhukam. The word Nirasta Kuhukam means he's free from illusion. So he creates this material existence which appears factual, although it is temporary. It is not factual. It is temporary. But he himself is there in his eternal transcendental abode, which is forever free from illusion. So these are the 7 attributes, 7 characteristics of the word absolute truth. Now let me ask you, what do you mean by, what is the opposite of absolute truth?
Relative truth.
Relative truth. Very nice, Mataji. In Hindi, how do we call it? Hindi?
Sapeksha.
Sapekshik. So people who have studied physics in their high school, they would know two terms, velocity and relative velocity.
Yes.
So relative velocity means velocity in relation with another velocity.
Yes.
So if 2 objects are moving, one is moving at a velocity of 100 km per hour, and the second object is also moving at a speed of maybe say 50 km per hour, Now, if they are moving in the same direction, so people will ask, what is the relative velocity of object A with respect to object B? They are asking for relative velocity. So we will say 100 minus 50, which is actually 50 kilometer per hour. So what does it mean? That if somebody is in the car of object B, so when he will see object A, it will appear as if that car is moving at a velocity of 50 kilometer per hour. So that is called relative velocity. Similarly, we have absolute truth and then we have relative truth. So what is the difference between absolute truth and relative truth?
One is nitya.
What is relative truth?
Which is a nitya. Relative, which keeps on, मतलब वो change होगा ना, that it'll keep on changing.
But we, as an example, what is an example of relative truth?
As an example, like, well, my body is changing.
Okay, is the spirit soul or a jivatma is a relative truth?
No, it's an absolute truth.
Relative truth. Is the living entity relative truth, absolute truth?
Absolute truth.
But
how can
no, does
the material world is a reflection of the spiritual world. That way you can say it is an illusory.
No, okay. If the living entity is absolute truth, then does it qualify any of the characteristics of the one that we just studied now?
No.
So how can it be absolute truth then?
It is not absolute truth.
It is not absolute truth.
Being part and parcel of the absolute truth.
Yes, part and parcel.
The qualities of the absolute truth are there in the Atma, right? In the soul.
Yeah, Mataji, that is correct. But my question is, what is relative truth? What do you mean by relative truth? What is the definition of relative truth?
Which is the truth.
Prabhu, Bhagavad Gita says the soul is eternal. It cannot be put into fire. It cannot. So that means it is an absolutely true thing, no?
No, it is not absolute truth. I'll give you the definition of relative truth. It is given in Bhagavatam purport, paragraph number 6. If you can open your Bhagavatam books and go to paragraph number 6 of the very first purport. So there, I have the Hindi one, so I will read in Hindi. Maybe you can read in English also. Maybe just somewhere in the center of paragraph number 6, somewhere in the center, भौतिक आकाश में प्रत्येक वस्तु सापेक्ष सत्य है। कहने का तात्पर्य यह है कि एक सत्य किसी अन्य पर आश्रित होता है। So the definition of relative truth is one which is dependent on other.
Yes.
One which is dependent on other. So we are relative truths. The living entity is a relative truth because we are dependent on other. For our birth, we are dependent on our parents. For our education, we are dependent on our teachers.
But Prabhu, your question was whether the living entity is the entity. By entity, you mean the life part, the soul, correct?
Yeah.
That is eternal, no? That's what Bhagavad
that was not my question. My question was not eternal.
Okay.
My question was, is the living entity relative truth?
No, by living entity, you mean the body or the soul or
the soul? The soul. Actually, body also is a relative truth. Body also comes from the.
No, body is relative truth. There is no doubt about that.
Matter is relative truth. That is, but the soul, the spiritual soul, the spirit soul, the living entity is also.
The Brahman part is true, no, because it is actually the absolute truth is manifested in 3 ways, no, Brahman and Paramatma and Bhagavan. So
Mataji,
in that way,
we are not talking about absolute truth. We are talking about relative truth. So
no, when you say a soul.
No, I am not saying. Yeah, okay, soul. Okay, yes.
The moment the word the soul is used, then it is a very part and parcel of the absolute. Because of that, it has got a quality which is eternal. So
yeah, but it is
relatively true only.
It is marginal potency. It is not the internal potency.
Potency wise, that is different.
Yeah, that is why it is actually relative truth. It is not the absolute truth. See, the absolute truth characteristics are given in front of you on the screen. the soul cannot say that I am Janmadasya Yato. The soul cannot say that I am directly or indirectly conscious of all the manifestation. The soul cannot say I am fully independent. The soul cannot say that I imparted Vedic knowledge into the heart of Brahma. Can the soul say that?
Okay. That way, fine. I agree.
Agree? Okay. Okay, good. So we have now Vijay Lakshmi Mataji who's going to really test us.
I'm sorry, Prabhu.
No. Please don't feel sorry. I'm actually complimenting you. I'm actually very happy that you are trying to put that challenge. Very nice. Okay. In case I'm not able to explain, I'll take some time and try to explain it to you after some class. So don't worry about it. That if you have asked any difficult question, which probably I may not know, so don't worry about it.
Thank you, Prabhu.
Okay, let us go to. But it is clear now, right?
Prabhuji.
Yes, Mataji.
Prabhuji, now you were saying the 6th paragraph. It is first canto, first shloka, Prabhuji, that relative truth.
Yes, Mataji. Here there is a line. भौतिक आकाश में प्रत्येक वस्तु सापेक्ष सत्य है. कहने का तात्पर्य यह है कि एक सत्य किसी अन्य पर आश्रित होता है. So I am reading in Hindi, but actually in English means that the truth that is dependent on another truth is actually known as relative truth.
Okay, Prabhuji.
That is the definition of relative truth.
Okay. I'll just
So we
check,
need to-
Prabhu. I'll read and check because I have English. I'll read and check which paragraph it is. Thank
And
you.
Yes, madam.
Prabhu, one
Yes.
more thing in the 7th point also. Does the 7th point say Jagat Mityam?
Yeah. It is actually something to do with that. Jagat Mithya is not a proper, I would say, statement in one sense. That is the understanding of Brahmavadis. Brahma Satya Jagat Mithya. So the Vaishnava don't say Jagat Mithya. Vaishnava says Jagat is Anitya. Anitya means temporary. But Mithya means it is false. It is false.
No, but the moment we use the word illusory, then it is false only. No, Prabhu.
Illusory in the sense that it is going to be eternally like this. It is going to be always like this. In that sense, it is muhyanti. It is illusory. Illusory means the illusion is that we are going to have this material world forever, eternally. That is the illusion. But that is but the understanding should be that it is temporary. When people say it is mithya, it means false. But it is not false. I see the table in front of me. I see the chair in front of me. I see people in front of me. I am talking to people. So it is real. It is factual. But it is temporary.
Okay.
That is what it means. Okay?
Okay,
man. Let us move. So if we are going to take more time than usual, kindly bear with me today. So we are having a very good discussion. 6 questions of sages of Naimisharanya, probably the easy one, will not attract a lot of discussion. So one by one, devotees would like to narrate the questions.
What is the absolute and ultimate good for people? Question number 1.
What is the absolute and ultimate good for the people in general? The Shreyas. The Shreyas. Okay.
Yeah.
And then what is the second one? Other devotees?
What is the essence of scriptures that benefits everyone?
Yes, very nice, Prabhuji. Saram. What is the sar? Essence of the scriptures, which is good for all living beings. See, very right. Yeah, very, very nice questions the sages are asking, isn't it? Then the third one, anyone?
What was the reason for which Lord Krishna appeared?
Why did the Lord appear in the womb of Devaki as the son of Vasudeva? Very nice. Fourth one?
Describe about Lord's Purushavatars.
Describe the Lord's adventures in his various incarnations. Purushavatars. So, this question is not really very, very absolutely clear when you read Srimad Bhagavatam, because you don't see the word Purushavatar in the question that is being asked. So this is actually Srila Jiva Goswami is saying that this is the fourth question regarding Purushavatars. So according to Srila Jiva Goswami, he has clarified that this question is about the Purushavatars. The original question is describe the Lord's adventures in his various incarnations. And Srila Jiva Goswami elaborates in his commentary that this actually question is referring to, they are asking for Purusha avatars. Okay, the fifth one.
Lord's Leela avatars.
Lord's Leela avatar. Huh? Narrate the transcendental pastimes of the Lord's multiple incarnations. Leela avatars. Very nice, Prabhuji. Or sixth one.
Whom did Dharma took shelter after Lord Krishna's departure?
Wonderful. Whom did the religious principles take shelter of after Lord Krishna's departure? So in the second chapter, actually we have covered till 1, 2, 3, 4. Fifth and sixth are yet to come. We will read the fifth one in the third chapter, and probably the sixth one also in the third chapter. Yeah. Okay, so we do this quite fast. Then we move to the fourth one. Oh, maybe I forgot to. Just give me 1 minute. 1 minute. Okay, let us go. Qualities of Kali Yuga people. A very important question. Let us know how we are. Write a brief note on the qualities of Kali Yuga people. Answer. Okay, one by one. Let us go.
Short-lived, lazy.
Short-lived, huh? Short-lived. Prayan Alpayusha. Prayan Alpayusha. So the qualities are described in 10th verse. Short-lived. Alpayusha. So why are they short-lived? Why are they short-lived?
Only 100 years in Kali Yuga people live. Before Yuga, it was I think 1,000 or something. And before that, it was 10,000 like that.
Irregular habits.
Sri Rama lived for
Actually,
10,000.
Mataji, I'm trying to ask in the purport. Srila Prabhupada has given some reasons behind each of these qualities. So I'm just trying to elaborate for some reflection on our part that why are these people short-lived? So
because of irregular habits.
Because of irregular habits, unregulated habits. So unregulated habits means that the people won't rise early in the morning, don't sleep on time, eat all kind of nonsense food, do all kind of unregulated things. So that is unregulated. What is the second one?
They're lazy.
Lazy. And why are they lazy? What do you
They're
mean by
lazy in the matter of self-realization. That is,
lazy.
they're not, as per the Prabhupada's purport, it is self-realization. They're not taking efforts, or they are not even taking knowledge about self-realization. So they're lazy in the matter of self-realization.
Very good. Quarrelsome and lazy. Mandaha. Manda means dhile. Lazy in the matters of spiritual knowledge. You go and ask people, sir, please read Bhagavad Gita. No, I know everything. I don't want to read Bhagavad Gita. So all kind of funny arguments you hear when you invite people for some spiritual discussion, try to motivate them. So in general, this is very true. Then what is the third one?
Is disturbed.
Misguided.
Misguided. Yes, we will come to disturbed also, Prabhu. Misguided. Why are they misguided? In what sense they are misguided?
The many scrupulous men, they manufacture their own religious faiths, which are not based on revealed scriptures.
Wonderful. Very nice, Prabhuji. And Manishji, you were saying the other one?
Disturbed.
Okay, maybe you will come a little later. What is the fourth one?
Unfortunate.
Unlucky.
Unfortunate.
Durbhagya. What is that? Yeah.
Unfortunate.
Abhagya.
Yes.
Unfortunate.
Yes.
Unlucky. So mandabhagya. So in what sense they are mandabhagyas?
Because they do not take up the signs of self-realization.
Because, sorry Mataji, come again.
I think because they do not take up the signs of self-realization.
Yeah.
They have facilities for spiritual advancement, but they ignore.
They are misguided because, see, in earlier system, people went to Gurukul, and Gurukul, they were taught about spiritual progress, etc. Now, the current modern education system, emphasis is given on material learning, not on spiritual learning. And so everybody gets caught in this new education system, and they think that is the way to getting a PhD on material. This thing is the way for progress.
So that is the biggest durbhagya. The education system, they take birth, they could have given the opportunity to learn about spiritual science, but just because they don't get this opportunity, that is what Prabhupada ji mentioned, that due to faulty education system, most people are not able to know about the need of self-realization. So very nice, Prabhuji. My answer matches with yours. Thank you. What is the next one? Now I think certainly Manish ji will come. Always disturbed. So why are they disturbed? In what sense they are
because
disturbed?
they are busy in sense gratification.
So many opportunities for sense gratification.
Yes,
Prabhupada ji mentioned cinema, sports, and then clubs, and then material libraries, and then smoking, drinking, thief, stealing, and then cheating, all kind of sense gratificatory activities. So due to large variety of options for sense gratification, so they remain disturbed, which one to do, which one to leave. So that is the qualities of Kali Yuga people. Okay. Now,
Excess of everything.
Yes, Prabhuji.
Excess of everything.
Excess of everything, correct.
And they need special help, definitely, of good teachers and friendship with good devotees, and ultimately the mercy of Lord Sri Krishna.
Yes, Prabhu. Yes, very nice. I appreciate your realized answer. You spoke it from your heart. Very nice. Okay. Now, Sud Goswami's answer to question 1 and question 2. Now, this question was 200 words. A little elaboration is needed in this question. So let us see how different people have answered it. Let us go one by one. How did Sud Goswami answer the sages question 1 and question 2? So how would you respond to this question? This is on the second chapter.
May I try, Prabhuji?
Yes, Prabhuji, please go ahead.
Having appreciated the qualities and contents of 6 questions from sages of Naimisaranya, the venerated saint and disciple of the Lord Incarnate Sri Shukdeva Goswami, thus began to answer, the Sud Goswami began to answer one by one.
Okay, so
the Brahmanas were making perfect query, went on to pay respectful obeisances to his Guru and great sage Shukdev, who was also a Brahmana personified, requiring no purificatory process, and had the potentials to enter the hearts of all. His spiritual master was exceptional, as he remained in his mother's womb for 16 long years and ran into the forest immediately after he was born, making his illustrious sage father Vasudeva running after him and bringing him back. From the forest, he came back only after hearing the verses from the hunters. Sud Goswami too was exceptionally lucky and fully acquainted with the tone, tenor, and contents of the stream of Vedic knowledge, Srimad Bhagavatam. He heard it personally during Sukhdev Goswami and the King Parikshit meeting, lasting a week. He was the second one to retell Srimad Bhagavatam to the sages of Naimisaranya.
Yes, Prabhu. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So that is your answer, Prabhuji? Okay.
Yes. And little more of it also. Sukhdev Goswami had spoken Bhagavatam one out of compassion for the materialistic people who forgot the relationship with God due to attractions of materialism. The Vedic scriptures like Bhagavatam, Gita, etc. help them re-establish that forgetfulness. Bhagavatam is meant for both the Paramhansas and the ordinary people and at all stages of life. Before reciting Bhagavatam, which is the way, which is the very means of conquest. One must offer respectful obeisances unto the personality of Godhead Narayana, then Narayana, Rishi, Saraswati Devi, and Srila Vyasadeva, the disciple of Narayana.
Yes.
He
Okay.
appreciated the sincere seekers and went on to answer and satisfy the dissatisfied soul, establishing that bhakti is the supreme occupation to follow by progressing on spiritual ladder.
Yes. Okay. Good. So your 2 points actually matches with my points also. So I have summarized these first 2 points as, first of all, he thanked the sages for their excellent questions because they are related to Lord Krishna and bhakti. Then he offers his pranams to his guru Shukdev Goswami. Then he offers his pranams to Lord Narayan, Narayan Rishis, Saraswati Devi, and Srila Vyasadeva. Okay. After that, anyone else have answered it little differently, then maybe they can introduce their points also. Anyone else? What should be the next one?
Can I try?
Yes,
Can I
please.
try? The supreme occupation dharma for all humanity is that by which man can attend to loving devotional service into the transcendental Lord. Such a devotional service must be unmotivated and uninterrupted to completely satisfy the self.
Okay. Okay. Yes. Then Sud Goswami answers the question 1. The question 1 was about supreme occupation for all people, and he answers that which is bhakti to Lord Adhukshaja. This bhakti should be unmotivated and uninterrupted. That is question 1 answered. Then what? How does it further progress?
Essence of all scriptures is again the same only.
Again the same only. Yes. Yes.
The answer
Yes,
is same. A pure devotional service to Adhukshaja is the answer for that also.
Yeah.
But here he goes into some details of explaining the qualities of the two bhaktis.
Yeah. Now then in the very next verse he answers the second question. Actually, this Q1 should be Q2 here. Next he answers Q2, which is the essence of all scriptures. Yes, Prabhu.
Bhakti quickly induces knowledge and detachment.
Jnana and Vairagya. Jnanam ahetukam and Vairagya, detachment. Bhakti quickly, immediately causes ahetukam jnana and Vairagya. So that is answer. Then immediately answers question number 2. Then what? Then what does he do? Then what does Sud Goswami do after answering the first?
Elaborating about bhakti towards Lord Krishna.
Yes.
How it produces these.
Yeah. Later he elaborates on his response to question 1 and question 2. He explains that objective of Varnashram Dharma is also to develop attraction for Hari Katha and please Lord Hari. Na utpadyed yati ratim shrama eva hi kevalam. Na utpadyed yati ratim. Then sam siddhim hari toshanam. So in one verse he says sam siddhim hari toshanam and na utpadyed yati ratim shrama eva hi kevalam. So he then further elaborates. So he has touched upon Jnana, Vairagya, and then the next point he brings is Varnashram. Dharma Swanishtita Pumsa. So occupational duties. Then what is the next one? How does it further elaborate? Okay,
he talked about the misconceptions also.
Yes, Mataji. Please tell.
People think that it is mainly for emotional, it's an emotional thing. Bhakti is not for everybody. And
that emotional part, actually we took it from the purport of Srila Prabhupada. It was not actually Sud Goswami's response. Sud Goswami's response was, then he further advises that one should direct one's desire, one's iksha. Kamasya na indriya pritir labho jive.
Desire should not be diverted for sense gratification.
For sense gratification. Na indriya pritir. And not for material gain. They should not be for material gain. They should be for liberation, for tattva jigyasa and for mumukshu. Then he further elaborates the question, the answer he gives. He further advises, he therefore then advises one should engage in the process of hearing, glorifying, remembering, and worshipping the Supreme Lord. Ultimately, he comes to this conclusion that the essence of all this is Tasmad ekena manasa Bhagavan Satvatam Pati Shrotavyah Kirtitavyascha Dhyayah Pujyascha Nityada. Always do hearing, glorification, remembering, and worshipping of the
And
Supreme
the heart can get satisfied only by hearing the discussions
Yes,
regarding
yes.
Lord Krishna.
Yes, Mataji. Yes. And then ultimately, the last point was that he elaborately describes the process of bhakti. He covers this from, I think, 16th verse till I think 21st verse. He elaborately
22nd.
describes the process of bhakti. He concludes the discussion with a quick explanation of how bhakti process works. It starts from the service of devotees, Mahat Seva, which develops Shraddha to hear the Harikatha, that leads to taste in Harikatha, Vasudev Katha Ruchi. Now the dirty things start to vanish, Nashta Prayeshu Abhadreshu, and the devotee is fixed in Seva, Nityam Bhagavad Sevaya. The devotee then gets rid of effects of three modes and starts feeling happiness. He then becomes enlivened, Prasanna Manaso, and enlightened about the scientific knowledge of Lord, Bhagavad Tattva Vijnanam. So you can also answer this in the form of Shraddha and ultimately going to the Prema. But I have chosen to use the typical words from the explanation that Sut Goswami gave, and that's how he answers this question. So this is asked you to write in 200 words. So this is how you can formulate your whole answer. In fact, if you see the Sut Goswami response, he's giving a crash course on bhakti. He's comparing it with different other processes like Jnana, Vairagya, and then sense gratification, and then material gain, and then maybe Varnashram Dharma, fruitive activities, Nishkam Karma, etc. Everything else he has compared. He has given the definition of bhakti. Like that, he has given a very sweet and a cogent answer to the question number 1 and question number 2. So that is the response.
Prabhu,
Okay.
here only I raised one question
Yes,
about the knowledge of a
We will,
growing
yeah.
Prahlad
Yes.
at the time of even before he was unborn. He heard it Narada Muni telling, no? From that he got this bhakti. So the knowledge only was the reason I can say for his bhakti. Because he was such a small child, right?
Mataji, let me clarify. When you say hearing, you are actually talking about Shravanam.
Shravanam, correct.
So Shravanam is actually a limb of bhakti. Shravanam is actually a limb of bhakti. So when you do Shravanam, then you are getting bhakti. That is actually bhakti is causing bhakti. It is not jnana is causing bhakti. We will come to this point later also in the multiple choice questions.
Okay. Okay. Similarly, Narada Muni actually was a servant-maid son, and he served the devotees. That's how he became a his bhakti guru.
So Mahat Seva, their bhakti is coming from serving the devotees.
So that is clear because for him the bhakti came because. But when it comes to hearing, like Shravana, what happens is your knowledge, you get the knowledge that Krishna is the absolute truth. And when that jnanam comes, when the jnana comes, then your bhakti undergoes a lot of deep, what to say.
Mataji, when
the
we say
depth of the bhakti grows.
So when we say jnanam could also mean impersonal jnanam. Impersonal jnana means jnanam of the impersonal Brahman. That is also, see, the word jnan actually means two things. Jnan in general means knowledge. Like one word can have several meanings. So jnan can mean knowledge. But jnan is also a process. Like we say jnan yog. So jnan yog, when we use the word jnan yog, and there the word Gyan actually means a process. We are referring to a process. So the process of Gyan Yoga is different from the process of Bhakti Yoga. In the process of Gyan Yoga, the practitioner contemplates upon the various scriptures like Upanishads. And when he reads these Upanishads, he tried to contemplate. The process of Gyan Yoga is actually the process of Neti Neti. Neti Neti means it is the process of elimination. They will study the 24 elements of existence like earth, air, water, fire, ether. All these, there are 24 elements of existence like 5 karmendriyas, 5 jnanendriyas. Then you, if you count all of them, there are 24 in count. So they will study these 24 elements one by one, neti neti. They will see this, is this the cause of existence? Is this the absolute truth? So slowly and gradually they will come to this understanding, no, this is not the absolute truth. So that is the process of Gyan Yoga. That is the process of Gyan Yoga. So and after the process of Gyan Yoga, the ultimate conclusion they come to, they are actually targeting this impersonal Brahman, the Brahma Jyoti aspect of the Supreme Lord. Like you studied in Srimad Bhagavatam, the Tattvadarshis understand the supreme absolute truth in 3 ways: Brahmeti, Paramatmeti, Bhagwaniti Shabdate, right? So they come to this conclusion that the absolute truth is Brahman. So this Gyan is actually not conducive to bhakti. So when we are talking about Gyan, we are actually talking about Gyan of the personal aspects of the Supreme Lord. So that is the meaning of the word Gyan. And this Gyan comes from the Bhakti literatures. Bhakti literatures are Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita. And if Narad Muni is speaking to Kayadu, and Prahlad is listening to Narad Muni while in his womb, while in the womb of Kayadu, he is actually going through the process of bhakti only. And that is creating bhakti in his heart.
Prabhuji, I have a small
Am I
query.
able to make sense?
Yes,
Prabhu.
Prabhu. But that's what I still have this what to say, the dilemma of whether, like I had mentioned in my answer, like whether the leaf moved because of that the air came, or the air came because of that the leaf moved, is always a question of debate. So
Yeah.
similarly,
So the bhakti comes.
the knowledge.
Bhakti.
For example, Prabhu, as we all grow up, suppose our sons, in our sanskar, we have this God worshipping kind of an environment. Our grandparents do that. We follow all these practices, but we will not be knowing absolute truth or this exceptional fondness for Krishna and all till we come to know understanding of Bhagavad Gita, and when we are understanding the God's talks on these aspects, that's when we really get to know it. So basically I was just thinking, like, most of us would have been exposed to certain amount of pious activities and pious bringing up due to our family setup, but the real the knowledge comes to us through attending a class of yours, or for example, or some discourses, or opening a book with an attention, with a focus to understand it, and things like that, like Bhagavad Gita and Bhagavatam. And that's when you find your own. It's not that you never had bhakti, but the bhakti undergoes a lot of change. It undergoes ocean level of change in you. That
Mataji, the example that you gave, I mean, in the interest of time, so let us do a short discussion. In case your doubts still persist, we can do a discussion separately also, because we have to finish the quiz also.
Yes, sir.
See, let me explain you in brief. If it is clear, that is good, but otherwise let us take this discussion offline. So the point I'm trying to make, Mataji, is when you say Jnana, there are 2 types of Jnana: impersonal Jnana and Bhakti Jnana. So when you are talking that we get this knowledge about Lord Krishna being the supreme absolute truth through books like Bhagavad Gita, from Bhagavatam, from where these books are coming? These books are coming from devotees. So actually the devotees, like we saw in the process, when the devotees are merciful, what was the first stage? What was the first stage before Mahat Seva? Satam Kripa. Satam Kripa means causeless mercy of the devotees. So when the devotees are merciful, they are giving this knowledge through the books. They will come to your house to give your lecture. You will go to a class in some festival. You will hear the devotees, because the bhakti knowledge will come from the bhakta only. That is why it is mentioned that bhakti is independent. Bhakti is not dependent upon jnana. When we say jnana, we are actually referring here to impersonal jnana. So the bhakti jnana will cause bhakti for sure. That is correct. But the impersonal jnana will not cause bhakti. That is the meaning. That is what I was trying to explain it to you. The word jnana can have multiple meanings. So the way this jnana word is being used in the verses of Bhagavatam, that it causes jnana and vairagya, it is because of bhakti. Even if you don't, even if you follow one or two limbs of bhakti, then also that jnana can come simply by doing kirtan. That bhakti can arise in your heart without even going to the classes, without hearing bhakti classes. That jnana can come. That is what Lord Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, 10th chapter. That if they are doing bhakti, then if they are following any of the limbs of bhakti, then that jnana manifests in his heart automatically. That is the part. If clear, that is good. Otherwise, we take it offline, Mataji.
Yeah, I went through devotion, nectar of devotion also, where he's giving a different view on this. Correct? I agree with you.
We'll discuss. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Good. Your questions are good, and appreciate your inquisitive questions. Yeah. Okay. Let us move to the multiple choice questions. I think they were very simple. They should not be very difficult. So the first question is about the absolute truth. The following statement is true about the absolute truth. The absolute truth is simultaneously one and different from the cosmic creations. Nothing is absolutely equal with the absolute truth. Nothing is independent of the absolute truth. All of the above.
All of the above.
All of the above. Okay. So the correct answer is all of the above. So I hope there is no confusion in this question or any doubt is there.
No.
Everyone is clear about this?
Yes, Prabhu.
Okay. Let us move to the next one. No one is equal or greater. I think few devotees stumbled upon this question. They could not get it right. Let us clarify this. Lord is also called as dash, which means no one is equal or greater than him. Asammordhva, Param Satyam, Abhigya, and Swarat. What is the correct answer?
Asamurdhva.
Asamordhva. So, what does Asamordhva means? It means no one is equal or greater. So, how do we learn this word easily? This sounds to be a little technical word, difficult word.
It is not coming in the verse, Prabhu.
Yeah,
Actually,
it is not coming. It is not coming in the verse. It is coming in the purport of Prabhupada. It is coming in the purport. Let me mention to you where does it come in the purport.
Samurdhva. Urdhva, no?
Asamurdhva. It is coming in paragraph number 10. Paragraph number 10, it is coming somewhere in the bottom part. असमोर्ध्व. ईश्वर का अन्य नाम असमोर्ध्व है, जिसका अर्थ है कि कोई ना तो उनके तुल्य है ना उनसे बढ़कर है. So now let me explain it to you. One thing. So if you divide this word into two parts, sum. This is one sum, and this is urdhva. So what do you mean by sum?
Equal.
What? Equal. Saman. In Hindi we call it saman. So saman means equal. Right? And what is urdhva means?
Ulta.
Urdhva is up.
Urdhva.
Urdhva is up.
Up.
Oh,
Up.
yeah.
Up means higher. Higher.
Yes.
Right? So higher. So what does means? Means negating.
Negating, correct.
Yeah. Yes.
Negating, right?
Asama.
So no one
Asama.
is equal or greater. Sam urdhva. So if you read this word like this by doing some sandhi, then you can easily remember the meaning of this word. So actually it means no one is equal or greater than the Lord. Sam urdhva. Okay, so the correct
But Prabhu,
answer is
here
A.
Param Satyam is also mentioned in the same line. Param Satyam.
Yeah, but here the meaning Param Satyam actually typically refers to absolute truth, but then it is generally it means Janmadhyasya Yataha, from where everything comes.
Okay.
Means supreme truth
From
also.
where
isn't
everything
it?
is. Yeah, supreme truth. Correct. So one of the characteristics of Param Satya is Asamvardha, because here clearly the meaning is given, so we know what it is. Abhigya means knowing everything. Swarat means fully independent. Okay.
Yes, Prabhu.
Superiority of Bhagavatam. The Srimad Bhagavatam stands superior to all other Vedic literatures because it recommends the worship of Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Sri Krishna. It aims at supreme truth, which is the substance of the root of all categories. It gives the information of the absolute truth in his personal feature. All of the above. What is the correct answer?
All of the above.
All of the above. Now, there is a specific word used in this particular verse number 2, which means cheating religion. So what is that word?
Kaitava
Dharma.
Kaitava Dharma. So can you give some examples of Kaitava Dharma?
Chala Dharma. Dharma
Yeah,
Bhav.
Chala Dharma.
Dharma
Yeah, what are the examples of Chala Dharma?
Like demigod worship, thinking like.
Okay, one is demigod worship. Okay.
Yeah. And like the dharma which tells you just do's and don'ts, which does not take you to absolute truth.
Okay.
That is kind of incomplete.
Our Bhakti also tells about do's and don'ts.
But it also takes you to the supreme truth.
Yeah, so that cannot be the definition, right? Which tells you about do's and don'ts.
Yeah.
So one is demigod worship, is Kaitav Dharma, and fruitive activities. Varnashram Dharma. Varnashram Dharma is Kaitav Dharma. And then if we are doing some dharma mainly for the goal of impersonal liberation.
Yes.
For impersonal liberation, that is also called Kaitav Dharma, cheating religion. Sometimes when we do our spiritual practices, that can give us siddhis, a lot of mystical powers. That is also Kaitav Dharma.
Yes.
Isn't it? So several different types of Kaitav Dharma are there. So the real definition of Dharma is, or pure Dharma is, one that teaches pure love of God. That is the supreme Dharma. And Srimad Bhagavatam that does exactly that. Vedyam vastavam atra vastu shivadam tapatrayo unmulanam. Vastavam vastu, the real thing, the pure thing. That's what Srimad Bhagavatam gives. Okay, let us go to the next one. Qualities of Suta Goswami. Which one is not the qualities of Suta Goswami as a speaker of Srimad Bhagavatam?
He was not famous.
Sinless, okay. Pure and simple, submissive to Guru, and famous. So Mataji immediately in advance gave the answer. Well read in scriptures, experienced in explaining scriptures. So correct answer is famous. So Sud Goswami was, this should not be the quality of Sud Goswami, but he was Anagha. He was Anagha. And then what was pure and simple? Saumya, right? Saumya. And then submissive to Guru. Submissive to Guru. And then well read in scriptures. So well read in scriptures was Akhyat, Akhyatanya, Apyadhitani, Dharma Shastrani Yanyuta. So he was very well read in scriptures. Okay. So these are the qualities of Sud Goswami. So
he is now very famous, sir.
Sorry, Prabhuji?
He is now very famous.
Now very famous, yes.
Correct.
But as a speaker of Srimad Bhagavatam, one need not be famous.
At that time he was not.
As a speaker of Srimad Bhagavatam, if somebody is not famous but is sinless, pure and simple, submissive to Guru, well read in scripture, then he qualifies for as a speaker of Srimad Bhagavatam. But if he is famous, but if he is not submissive to his Guru, then he is not qualified to speaker of Srimad Bhagavatam. That is the point.
He was second in line of telling Srimad Bhagavatam. तो ये फेमस वाला वैसे आंसर यही लिखा है मैंने, पर मुझे लगा कि what on earth could not see him famous. He was number 2 in reciting Srimad Bhagavatam.
No, he was famous, but that was not the quality of Sud Goswami as a speaker of Srimad Bhagavatam. Okay. आपके पास कोई अगर if somebody comes to you to ask for a job of speaker of Srimad Bhagavatam, then you will not rate him for whether he is famous or not.
He was not exposed then, I would say that he had no previous experience of speaking Srimad Bhagavatam. That is all I can understand from that. Had he been exposed earlier, people would make an opinion about him that he is good, bad, worse.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
he was very fresh to addressing Naimisharana sages.
Yes.
With the, of course, qualities of they already mentioned.
Yeah. Yes. So devotees, Prabhuji, generally they don't hanker for fame, but because of their purity, they become famous, or they may become famous.
Yes.
But even if they don't become famous, and if they still remain, if they are still pure devotees, the Lord still have the same opinion about them. They can still go back to Godhead without being famous. So the Lord will not check, sir, how many people did you know, or how many people knew you. That is not the criteria.
Right. Thank you.
Brahmana well versed in Vedas. Okay, that was another question which few of you got incorrect. A qualified Brahmana who is well versed in the Vedas is called dash. Vaishnava, Vipra, Dvija, and Pandita.
Vipra.
So how do you know this answer, Prabhuji? थोड़ा guide कीजिए हमें.
Prabhuji, when a person is born, he is born as an ordinary living being. But by the purification process, when he approaches spiritual master for learning Vedas, and spiritual master accepts him as his disciple and gives him knowledge, then he is born for the second time. He is called Dvija. And after being well versed in Vedas, he becomes Vipra. और जब वो एक क्वालिफाइड ब्राह्मण कहलाता वो.
Yes.
और उसके बाद जब वो प्रोग्रेस करता है स्पिरिचुअल लाइफ में, तब वो वैष्णव स्टेज पे पहुंच सकता है.
Then he comes to the Vaishnava stage. And from where did you get this beautiful knowledge, Prabhu?
प्रभु परपोर्ट से. So that is the point I am trying to make, that if the devotees could not get this right, probably because they did not read the purport. So sometimes you will not get the answer directly from the translation of the verse, but because we have mentioned the number of the verse from where this question is coming from, so you can try to take some pain to read the purport, and then you can get the answer. Okay, so that is the point we are trying to make. But Rakesh ji, very nice. You explained it very nicely.
I have a small query.
Yes, Prabhuji.
I want to know the definition of a Vaishnava vis-a-vis a pure devotee.
Same, Prabhuji,
Who is a
same.
pure devotee? Who is a Vaishnava?
Same. Vaishnava is a pure devotee. There is no
Vaishnava is a
difference.
pure devotee. Then
Yes.
what was this?
Even people like even people like us who are
Okay.
actually on the path of pure devotional service, although we may not be pure in consciousness completely, but because our intentions and our goal is pure devotional service, Prabhupada would say that we are also in the category of pure devotees.
What
Because
was
our
Sukadeva
purpose is-
Goswami then?
Sorry,
What was Sukadeva Goswami then?
he was a Vaishnava. He was a pure devotee. Yeah.
Okay. Pure devotee is even superior to Brahman.
Brahmana, yes. Yeah.
Right. That's
Brahmana
true.
is a superior because when it is mentioned here, विप्रा या योग्य ब्राह्मण परम ब्रह्म का साक्षात्कार करता है और तब तक आध्यात्मिक जीवन में उन्नति करता रहता है जब तक वह वैष्णव अवस्था तक नहीं पहुंचता। वैष्णव अवस्था या किसी ब्राह्मण के लिए स्नातकोत्तर मीन्स पोस्ट ग्रेजुएट।
Yes.
So Vaishnav stage is actually the post graduation of Brahmana stage. Brahmana means Brahma Janati iti Brahmana. One who knows about Brahman, one who knows about spiritual knowledge is a Brahmana. But one who knows about Lord Krishna as the supreme absolute truth is a Vaishnava.
Yes. Yes. Now it is clear.
Yes. So Vipra. Okay. Move to the next one. Supreme Dharma of humanity. The supreme dharma of humanity is to serve the Lord, dash, uninterruptedly, without any motivation, with equal vision toward living entities, both A and B.
Both A and B.
Yeah. So what are these two Sanskrit words, Prabhuji? Uninterruptedly means? Uninterruptedly means apratihata. And without any motivation means?
Ahaituki.
Ahetuki. Hetu means motivation and ahetuki means without any motivation. And uninterruptedly means, what does it mean in terms of explanation that we gave in the class? Apratihata. So we gave two reasons, two meanings of ahetuki and apratihata, right?
We should break the chain.
Cannot be
Take
checked.
things like
So the bhakti cannot be checked. Apratihata means bhakti cannot be checked. Uninterruptedly, another meaning, apratihata, another meaning is that we need to do it on a regular basis. It should be done on a regular basis. So the practice of bhakti should be regular, and the characteristics of bhakti is that it cannot be checked. If you do some bhakti, the next life you will start from that level, and without any motivation means, in terms of practice, what does it mean? That we do not desire anything else. We do not desire any fruitive result. We do not desire any impersonal liberation. Those things we do not desire. And what does other meaning of ahetuki was?
Bhakti should not be done for utmost purposes, like for siddhis, for perfection in some yoga, or for obtaining some jnana, etc.
Yes. So
Costless.
Causeless, yes.
Causeless, correct. Okay, so ahetuki, the second meaning was that bhakti only produces bhakti. Bhakti cannot be produced by punya, charity, or beauty, or money. That is also the another meaning of ahetuki, akaranam. So one is that it is done unmotivated, and the other meaning of ahetuki was that bhakti only causes bhakti. It is not caused by any other process. That is the another meaning of ahetuki. Okay, so here the correct answer is both A and B. Gyan and Vairagya in relation with bhakti. So Vijay Mataji's question has come. Knowledge and detachment are. Essential elements to cultivate bhakti. B. Byproduct of pure devotional service.
Yes.
C. Necessary to cultivate separate from bhakti. And D. None of the above. What is the answer?
Byproduct of pure
Yes,
devotion.
knowledge and detachment actually is the byproduct of pure devotional service. So here when we say Mataji, Viji Mataji, when we say knowledge, actually we are talking about the impersonal knowledge. So if you do bhakti, you automatically get this knowledge. You don't have to separately endeavor for this knowledge. Even if you are doing some maybe deity worship, or you are doing some other limbs of bhakti, you will develop this knowledge of Lord being the supreme. That is the understanding.
I mean, even if I don't go through in a deep way Bhagavatam or Bhagavad Gita, still.
Yeah, if you see, Bhagavatam can be read, it can be heard also. Shravanam.
Correct. Like I had mentioned to you about Rukmani Devi.
Right.
The
Rukmani Devi actually heard about Lord Krishna. That is Shravanam. That is the process of bhakti.
Correct. But he came to know about him. This knowledge word I took that way.
Yeah. So knowledge
you come to know about him, no? When you come to know about him, then your bhakti becomes deeper. So that way I was thinking it is a tool for bhakti.
Yeah. So here, you see,
I didn't consider it as a byproduct, but I thought
let me clarify.
A tool for bhakti.
Yeah, let me clarify, Mataji. It is coming from the 7th verse. So if you read the 7th verse, what is the 7th verse? Janatyashu, janayatyashu, vairagyam, jnanam cha yad ahetukam. So this the characteristics of this gyan is actually ahetuka gyan, causeless gyan, and hetuka gyan actually means the gyan which takes us to liberation, to mukti. So ahetuka gyan actually means gyan about Lord Krishna. So that gyan is not mentioned here. The characteristics of gyan is mentioned here is ahetuka gyan. Now let me read you from the commentary of Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur. This second chapter, verse number 7.
Thank you, Prabhu.
Second chapter, verse number 7. Here, thus in this verse, Jnanam Ahetukam means knowledge without the goal of liberation. Knowledge without the goal of liberation. That is Ahetuka Gyan. If you are, as I mentioned to you in the previous discussion that we had, Gyan actually typically refers to knowledge of impersonal Brahman. That is why in this verse it is clarified, it is characterized. What kind of Gyan are we referring here? Jnanam cha yad ahetukam. Ahetuka Gyan. Knowledge in this case means knowledge and experience of the Lord's form, qualities and sweetness. Okay, Mataji?
Okay. No, this is clear, Prabhu. But how do you call knowledge as a byproduct of bhakti? Because the product which comes out of bhakti is bhakti. That's what you yourself told you a little while back.
Yeah, so
bhakti leads to bhakti.
Yeah. So when we take knowledge of Krishna, that is actually called as bhakti only.
Correct. So how do you say it's a byproduct?
It is byproduct. I think what Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, no? Jeevera Swarupa Hoy Nitya Krishna Das. This is the real knowledge. It comes from bhakti only. This is what I heard in one lecture.
Yeah. So if you do bhakti, then you develop this knowledge and detachment automatically. As I mentioned to you, knowledge independently without the adjective of ahetuka is mean impersonal gyan, impersonal Brahman, gyan of impersonal Brahman. Now, if you do bhakti, the knowledge of impersonal Brahman will automatically come to you. You don't have to do separately. Is that clear, Mataji?
Like for example, Prabhu, there is something called enlightenment and all. No?
Enlightenment
So
has
those people,
several levels.
they will come to know the truth, correct?
Mataji, enlightenment has
So
several
and
degrees.
after that,
Several degrees. Say for
no,
example.
for example,
Yeah.
I mean,
Okay. Yeah. Please go ahead.
Prabhu, my doubt is like if I'm enlightened about something, correct? Suppose I'm enlightened about Lord Krishna, correct? Then my bhakti is going to grow. So how I can say that it is a product that my bhakti led to enlightenment. I mean,
Mataji,
like how do
the mistake that you are making is when you are saying that when I'm hearing about Krishna, that knowledge is not being referred in the same way the way it is being referred in this question. Knowledge.
Okay, this knowledge is what you mean to say is
when we say jnana,
okay,
it is actually about impersonal jnana.
The presence of Brahman and all.
Yeah, impersonal jnana. Impersonal jnana means merging into the Brahma Jyoti.
Okay.
So knowledge and detachment. So the people may say that, okay, sir, if I am doing bhakti, how do I know about the impersonal jnana, whether I get Brahman realization or not? So the answer is yes, you will get Brahman realization also. Like I mentioned to you when I was discussing the stages of bhakti. So in the stage of ruchi, or I would say nishtha and ruchi, after the anartha nivritti stage, that is actually Brahma Bhuta Prasanna Atma. That is the Brahman stage. The devotee is actually has got rid of all kind of anarthas, and at that moment he is as good as Brahman. He does not have any bad qualities like lust, anger, greed, pride, illusion, envy. That is where it is known as Brahma Bhuta Prasanna Atma na chochati na kankshati.
So that is basically the impersonal aspect, no, Prabhu?
That is the that
is what Adi Shankara must have experienced it in his enlightenment, right?
Yeah. Adi Shankara was a devotee of the Lord. Actually, he was a
he was a devotee of Lord. And when he say Aham Brahmasmi, this must have been the status on which he must have
been mentioning it. Yes. Aham Brahmasmi. The followers of Shankaracharya say that I am that supreme spirit Brahman. That is the meaning the followers of Shankaracharya derive. But Vaishnavas derive that I am spirit. I am spirit. I am also spiritual in nature.
No, but whatever sentences which you said now, I'm trying to quote it with an example of Adi Shankara. When he made these two phrases, this must have been his experience in his bhakti status, right?
Yeah. In bhakti status, you get this all the realization that I am the soul, and then I have a relationship with the super soul.
Because you are only telling now it's a byproduct, so possibility is there, right?
Byproduct, yeah, but the devotee is not interested in this byproduct.
No.
It will come to him. It will come to him. It will come to the practitioner. The impersonal aspect of the Supreme Lord. It will come. The enlightenment will come to the practitioner, but he is not interested in that goal. That is why it is said that knowledge and detachment are byproduct of pure devotional service.
With reference to this question only I asked from.
Yeah.
My doubt was related to the question only.
Yeah. Okay. So now it is clear, Mataji? Okay.
Yes, Prabhu. Yes.
Okay. Good.
We are literally on the same page only.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Goal of occupational engagements. All occupational engagements are certainly meant for dash. Material gain, sense gratification, ultimate liberation, all of the above.
Ultimate liberation.
Ultimate liberation. So this is the ninth question. Here, dharmasya hi apavargasya. So hi apavargasya means moksha, liberation. So the dharma or occupational duty are actually meant for ultimate liberation. And the topmost liberation is service of the Supreme Lord. So ultimate liberation. How to use material gains? Sense gratification, healthy life and self-preservation, serving humanity, grow food grains.
B.
Serving.
Or
Serving.
the
So
Serving humanity.
for a healthy life and
healthy life and
self-preservation.
self-preservation.
Healthy life and self-preservation, right? So Jeevet Yavata. Atma Sangrakshan. So what do you mean by healthy life and self-preservation, Prabhujis and Matajis? What do you mean by
Healthy life is healthy practices, Prabhu. We will only be sattvic food we will eat, and that type of
okay? And what is the unhealthy aspect of using material gain? What do we mean by that? What is the unhealthy aspect?
that's what I have a lot of money, so I'll go to the bar and drink, that type of a thing.
Sense gratification.
Sense gratification.
You only earn what you need.
Yeah. So you typically fulfill your bodily requirement, your maybe other emergency requirement, or maybe for some future you can keep some money for your children's marriage, education. That is something like healthy life and self-preservation. But now you start to earn money and start to do indriya priti, a lot of sense gratification. That is the unhealthy use of material gain. That is the point Sud Goswami is making here. So correct answer is healthy life and self-preservation. Okay. Where to direct our life desires? Life desires should be directed towards sacrifices, deity worship, propagation of holy names, and sense gratification. Sorry, life desires should never be directed towards. Never be. So it is in the negative.
Sense gratification.
Sense gratification. Very good. So correct answer is sense gratification. Absolute truth. Once again, question on absolute truth. Absolute truth is called as Brahman, Paramatma, and Bhagwan.
All three.
All of them. All three. Yes, Mataji. So some people understand the absolute truth only at a partial level. That is called Brahman level. Brahman level means that it is only the consciousness that exists. There is nothing else. There is no subject. There is no object. Only consciousness. Pure consciousness everywhere. Now, Brahma Satya Jagat Mithya. Jagat Mithya. There is nothing else. Brahman only. And then Paramatma. Paramatma means the all-pervading aspect. The Lord that is situated in every heart, every atom, every living entity. That is Paramatma.
The super soul.
The super soul. And Bhagwan actually is the person, the Supreme Lord in the spiritual world, who has some desire, who has some likings, dislikings. He has a typical dress. He has a typical nature. Bhagwan. That is the understanding of absolute truth. So one who has the understanding of Bhagwan, does he understand all the other two?
Yes.
Yes. So he understands Brahman also and Paramatma.
Bhagwan is ultimate.
It is the ultimate. Now, what are the analogies Prabhupada give to explain Brahman, Paramatma, Bhagwan? What are the different analogies Prabhupada gives?
Sun rays, sun and sun planet.
And sun planet and sun deity. Sun deity, right? So sun deity is Bhagwan, and sun globe is actually Paramatma, and the sun rays is actually Brahman. Okay, then what other there are more analogies are given. So what is sun? Then another one.
There is this firewood smoke also.
Firewood smoke.
That's different, huh?
Yeah, I think that is different. So the one is given by mountain. You look at the mountain from a distance, it appears as a very blurred object. You go a little near, you see the trees also. More details are available. Now you reach the mountain top only, then you find houses, people living on the mountain. That is the Bhagwan aspect. Then there is a third analogy given of the train. Train looking from the distance. So you only see the light of the train. There is a large train coming up, only see some light. So that is Brahman. You go a little near, then you see the engine, you see the bogies also. That is Paramatma. Then you go on to the railway station where the train comes and stops. Then you can enter and see that there are people also in the bogie, and then there are also people, a driver in the engine room, like that. That is Bhagwan aspect. So train example is there, mountain example is there, sun example is there. So there are several analogies Prabhupada is giving for understanding this Brahman, Paramatma, Bhagwan aspect. Correct answer here is all of the above. Then we go to the next one. True aim of Varnashram Dharma. The true aim of Varnashram Dharma is to
The Supreme Lord.
uphold all the Vedic principles, create civilized human beings, have law and order in the society, please the Supreme Lord. Sam siddhim hari toshanam. Atha pumbir dvija shrestha varnashrama vibhagasha swanishthastasya dharmasya sam siddhir hari toshanam. So the correct answer is please the Supreme Lord. Wonderful, Prabhuji. Go to the next one. How to cut the knots of reactionary work. Intelligent men cut through the binding knots of reactionary work by doing what? Remembering the Lord, Ashtanga Yoga, Jnana Yoga, and Karma Yoga. What do you do?
Remembering the Lord.
Remembering the Lord. Very good. So there is an analogy given in this verse. What is the analogy? How do we cut this knot? Using what? The remembrance is compared to what? The remembrance of Lord is compared to which object in this verse, 15th verse?
Fruitive work.
Yad anudhyasina yukta, yad jo smriti rupi asina means talwar, sword. So the remembrance of Lord is like a sword. So if you are remembering the Lord, you are actually using this sword and cutting the knots of your reactionary work, your karma of the previous life. So if you chant Hare Krishna, so you cut some of your reactionary work of the previous life. That is the meaning. Yad anudhyasina. Asina means talwar, sword. So remembering the Lord. How to get taste for hearing? How can one get taste for hearing about the Lord? By hearing about mundane topics, austerities, by serving the great souls, by controlling the senses.
By serving the great souls.
By serving the great souls. So, Shushrusho Shraddha Dhanasya Vasudeva Katha Ruchihi Syan Mahat Sevaya Vipraha Punya Tirtha Nishevana. So, when you do some service to the great devotees, then actually you get the qualities of those great devotees. And when you get the qualities of great devotees, you develop taste for hearing the topics about the Lord. Vasudev Katha Ruchi. So, by serving the great souls, Mahat Seva, one stage before Shraddha. Then Bhagavat means, which one refers to Bhagavat? Book Bhagavat, person Bhagavat, both of them, none of them.
Both of them.
So book Bhagavat is also known as Bhagavat, like the book we are reading, and person Bhagavat, like we say, वो तो महाभागवत भक्त हैं. He is a Mahabhagavat. Mahabhagavat means he is a great devotee. So if we do the service to Bhagavat, like we read Bhagavat daily, nicely with a lot of faith and devotion, and then we serve the person Bhagavat, the effect is same. We get devotional service. Vidhunoti suhrat satam. Okay, ji, both of them. Now coming to the second last one. Most beneficial worship. Human being can take most benefit by worshipping whom? Lord Shiva, Lord Brahma, Lord Vishnu, Lord Goddess Durga.
Lord Vishnu.
Lord Vishnu. Very good. Correct answer is Lord Vishnu. Then the last one, analogy. Passion, goodness, and ignorance are compared to dash, respectively. Smoke, firewood, fire, smoke, wood, wood, smoke, fire, fire, wood, smoke.
Smoke, firewood.
Smoke, firewood.
Smoke, firewood. Okay. So can somebody explain this analogy?
Like
Why wood is called ignorance? Why wood is compared to ignorance?
Wood is Parthiva. That is
Parthiva.
almost like dead.
Dead. Yeah.
So it is in the mode of ignorance.
Yeah.
But when there is a little activity, so smoke is there. So activity is Rajogun, passion.
Passion.
And
Okay.
fire is all goodness. So
All goodness. Yes. So goodness means smoke. Enlightenment is there. It is with some intelligence. So say mode of ignorance means no intelligence and inactivity. No intelligence and inactivity. That is mode of ignorance. Tamogun. Mode of passion means activity without using intelligence.
yes.
So we like knee-jerk reaction. So somebody did something to us, maybe said something bad about us, and we, out of knee-jerk reaction, we just reciprocated. We also said something bad to him. That is passion, without thinking, without contemplating. So passion has activity but without contemplation, and goodness has both activity as well as contemplation. So like that you can learn. Goodness has both activity. It will take some action, but with some contemplation. It will think what is good, what is bad. Like Arjuna is doing in Bhagavad Gita. He's arguing, he's discussing. Like Vijay Mataji does. She challenges every now and then. Oh, Prabhu, I don't understand this. Prabhu, I don't understand that. That is very inquisitive, very nice. So Brahma Jigyasa. So we should have Jigyasa for Brahma. For spiritual pursuit, we should do good inquiries. So correct answer here is smoke fire good. So with that, all glories to Srimad Bhagavatam, all glories to Srila Prabhupada. Now I want to make one announcement. From next class onward, I will open the class from 5:15 p.m. in India. And before the class begins, our regular class begins, 15 minutes we will allocate on learning the shlokas. We will recite the shlokas, we will try to learn the shlokas, we will try to go deep into the shlokas. Only some chosen one, some 3-4 shlokas from 1 and 2nd chapter. So till we go to the next quiz, we will practice these shlokas. So anyone who is interested in this session is welcome to join. Okay. Okay ji, thank you very much. Any comment, any feedback, any takeaways devotees would like to give? Was this useful? Did your doubt really got answered?
Prabhuji, they had a very, very nice revision of chapter 1 and 2.
Okay.
Because of this quiz.
I get Ashirwad from Jivan Prabhu. I get Ashirwad from Jivan.
Same here, Prabhu.
Prabhu, very,
Yes.
very thorough analysis, Prabhu. I'm enjoying it.
I'm also enjoying your questions, Mataji.
Thank
You are
Prabhu.
really a test for teachers.
I'm sorry, Prabhu.
No, not sorry. Not sorry.
I'm
You need not feel
troubling you.
sorry. Need not feel sorry. But I hope we are able to address your doubts. So that is very
Yes,
good.
Prabhu. Prabhu, there is one person whom I met yesterday who lives in Paradiso 1, and her name is Ashwini, and she wanted to join the class, so I passed on this
Yes,
link,
please.
Zoom
Please.
link.
Zoom link pass, and if she lady or
Lady,
sir?
Ashwini,
Lady.
Ashwini,
Okay,
lady.
so madam, if she wants to join our WhatsApp group also, she can write to me. You can share the link of joining the
No,
WhatsApp group.
I just shared your Zoom.
Okay.
That
Okay. So she can try a few classes and then decide. Okay.
I thought I'll just mention to you so that if
No, no.
a person
okay,
log in like that, you will allow.
Mataji, for spiritual subject matter, it is very difficult to find people to get interested. If you are finding people, there is no need to take permission. You simply invite them.
No, suddenly one person logs in, no, you will not know the name.
No, I will ask when she logs. I will ask.
Okay, Prabhu. Thank you.
Okay.
Hare
Thank you very much.
Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Okay, ji. Thank you very much.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhu. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for
Thank you.
more giving me more time,
No
precious
problem.
time of yours.
Actually, your questions are benefiting others also. Yeah.
Thank you, Prabhu.
Okay.
Thank you.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, ji. Thank you. Thank you.
Hare Krishna,
Thank you.
Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hare Krishna.